Hey gang, Chad Madden here with Breakthrough and wanted to record a quick video for you. Just went through this exercise again with an owner and they were thinking ahead of how do I add on a PT? And they were really viewing that adding on that next PT as an expense rather than an investment. And I want to show you how a seasoned private practice owner who's scaling and growing their business, how they think about whether they're adding personnel, in this case, a part-time PT, whether they're adding additional space, maybe expanding, moving, or opening an additional clinic, or any investment in information and marketing. And there's a key difference with the seasoned practice owner who has successfully grown and scaled their business. They will view those four categories: information, marketing, personnel, and service. They will view that as an investment and ultimately an asset. Whereas a practice owner early on that's struggling, growing, they will view that as an expense. And I want to show you the exact mistake that those owners are making and hopefully help you as well. And by the way, if you want to have more tools, the tools that I'm talking about here, or anything on direct access marketing, head on over to learnwithbreakthrough.com. Ton of goodies over there. But meanwhile, let's get started with this. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll get rolling. Cool. So this tool is called a pro forma, and what it is it's a future guess at how well our business is going to work. Right? It's really the business plan, and I know if you've done any business planning courses like I have, there's a lot of you can get a lot of fluff really quick with talking about abstract ideas and differentiation within the marketplace and everything else. Those ideas are important. However, what it comes down to is you need to be able to keep your doors open. And no bank is going to invest in you, give you a loan or extend anything at a reasonable interest rate unless you can show them the plan as to where you're going. So this I extrapolated from 3 or 4 real life examples, but let me give you the assumptions here. So the first thing that I want you to focus on is this is a very simple pro forma. So we have income at the top, total number of visits, and income received from treating those visits. Pretty simple. 325 visits in a month. So this is again, an earlier practice, just getting started. Income from that would be $26,000. The assumption there was $80 in reimbursement per visit. So I went very conservative here. Now you might be higher, you might be in a state that's a little bit lower, but I just picked middle of the road for the example. Payroll, very simply, this is for a PT and a receptionist, right? Keeping this very simple. So this is an owner seeing a ton of visits and as a receptionist, and that's about the extent of personnel we're talking about right now. And again, this is drawn from real life examples of owners that are seeing roughly 75 visits a week, 65, 70, 75 visits a week. So billing, that's just a function of a percentage of revenue. These examples they were using an outside billing house, and that's fine. Internal and external marketing, that should be about 10% of total revenue coming through. Rent, $2,850, pretty standard. For where these practices were at, straightforward. That was about 1,500 to 2,000 square feet. That was the range there. Con Ed, pretty straightforward, self-explanatory. Same thing with office expense, clinic expense, miscellaneous, and reserve. So reserve, and this is straight out of Greg Crabtree's Simple Numbers, Big Profits book. You want about 10% of your money going into a reserve account for a future expansion. Again, investment in 4 categories. More space, greater capacity to deliver. More personnel, greater capacity to deliver. Information, so best practices. Learning about processes that you can implement into your business. And also marketing or marketing initiatives. So we have a reserve account in this case. So we want to be conservative with this. Total expenses there, $19,100. Income minus expense, in this case, $6,900 a year. So the owner, and I think they were taking a salary of $60,000 a year. They have a reserve account, right? So they're safe. They're more than 10% profitable, and they have a profit margin as well. That's fairly healthy. So they're making another 84K a year. Not too bad for a single practice owner and a solopreneur, if you will. So we were talking through this, and we said, okay, so what's your next step? And this owner said, the one specific owner I'm thinking about, it was one of the examples for this. They said, well, I want to bring in a part-time PT, but I can't afford it. And I said, show me why. And they went through this example, and they had 325 visits. They had the same exact income. That's the biggest mistake right there. And then when they went through payroll, they looked at, okay, if I bring in a part-time PT 25 hours a week, that's going to cost me $60K a year or $5,000 a month. And what I'm going to do is take my $6,900 a month in profit, and I'm going to subtract $5,000. So now I only have $1,900 a month in profit. Why would I do that? And I said, I don't know, but let's take a look at what you're doing here. So when you add the additional therapist, does that buy you anything? And they thought about it for a minute, and they said, yeah. And I said, well, like potentially, what is that? And there's all those self-limiting beliefs started coming out. And well, what if I crash? What if they don't treat like me? What if everybody wants to see me? Like all that stuff started bubbling up, right? And I said, okay, so let's assume we can get over all that. So any therapy company, and there are thousands out there, tens of thousands, that have ever hired a PT in the past, how do you think they overcame that? We handled that separately. That's beyond the scope of this video. But I said, like, ultimately, why are you bringing that person on? For some time freedom, right? For more stability within the clinic, so we're diversified and I'm not the only clinician, and so we can help more people. And I was like, great. So what does that look like? How many visits a week are they going to see? In this example, I think it was 35 or 40 more visits a week. So let's conservatively call it 154 or 150 more visits per month. So now we go from 325 on average to 475. What does that do to the income? And they said, well, I never really thought about that before. And so we kept the same exact units per visit and reimbursement at 80 in this example. And they went from 26,000 to 38,000 in income. Then we went through and we said, okay, does payroll change? Yes. What does that change? And we added that in, as you can see right here, went from 8,000 to 13,000. Billing, does that change? Yep. We go from 1,300 a month to 1,900 a month. External marketing, yep. Now we have more money to play with in marketing. 10% of 26,000 is less than 10% of 38,000, so we can invest more money in bringing new patients in. And in this example, I think they simply needed 154 or 150 more visits per month. If you're averaging, let's say 10 units per or 10 visits per IE that comes through, that would be 15 more new patients. Where are we going to get that from? We're going to get that from the increased ad spend that we now have in external marketing and internal marketing. As you know, we're going to use direct access marketing or direct response marketing, so we can be scientific with that and comfortably and have certainty in expanding our business here. So does rent change? No. Con ed change? I think they said $100 a month more. Office expense change? No. Clinic expense change? No. Miscellaneous, we just bumped it up a little bit more. We're putting more money in the reserve, right? And total expenses, in spite of all those increases, is $27,350. Income minus expense, now we're at $10,650. And I simply said, which one do you want? Looking at this, which model do you feel better with? And so the future model, whether it's 3 months away, 6 months away, a year away, which one looks more comfortable to you? And they said, well, obviously the one on the right. And I said, great. So that is our game. So if you're at 32 new patients a month right now on column left, and we have to get to 47 or 48 a month, now we can start to work backwards, right? We start asking ourselves better business questions, and we start being a better CEO, being a better executive. Again, this is very early in the game, but you can apply this if you have 10 clinics. We just applied it as we were opening an additional office. I'll have to share those numbers with you in another video, but our second full month in, Dan did an amazing job there and we were profitable. 4 months in, he expanded from 1,200 to 2,600 square feet. 8 months in, he had hired not only a full-time PTA and a full-time aide, and his schedule was booked. He also brought on, again, 7 or 8 months in, brought on a full-time PT and now a part-time PTA. And he has used the same exact exercise, not only from a year before we actually opened that office, but he also uses it now anytime he's looking at investing in one of those 4 categories. Again, they're information, marketing, personnel, and space, right? So that is how you can apply this, and you can grow with some sense of control rather than just rolling the dice or thinking this is a scratch-off lotto ticket and there's some luck involved. This is what you want to do. So you want to do pro forma today, and also looking at your numbers today, and then make a calculated estimate of where you're going to be once you make this investment in information, marketing, personnel, or space. So with this owner, we circled back around and I said, okay, the big question is, would you rather have $19,000 a month in expenses or $27,000 a month? And they said, well, obviously 19. And I said, okay, so if you go back to that, then you get the $26,000 a month income and $7,000 a month profit. Or you can have this future. And our game is to get there as fast as we can. So once we bring that PT on, our role, our focus is to get that extra 15 or 16 new patients in on the schedule consistently, and do that with, again, that certainty or that sense of control. So in this example, I said, okay, so $2,600 a month into your reserve is what you're doing today. Although I don't think they were doing that fully. It might have been $1,300 a month. So let's assume you're at $2,600 a month going into your reserve. That's about $30K a year, $31,200 a year to be exact. Would you rather have that or roughly $46K a year? Right? So we want the $46K. Okay, do you want the $7,000 a month in profit or $84K a year, or the $10,650? Roughly $126,000 a year. Which one would you rather have, 84 or 126? And they said, well, obviously the 126. Great. So this is what we're doing. Now we're focused. Now we're going to ask ourselves better questions. We can start to see the chess moves that we have to have in place. We have to have training for the PT. We have to have better marketing systems in place that give us some certainty, and we have to make sure that our billing is up to speed to bring that person in. Anyhow, enough on this for now. Again, I will put this spreadsheet, a blank form of this spreadsheet, over at learnwithbreakthrough.com. You can check that out. Just in summary, this is so if you're really thinking about scaling and you're serious about growing your business, in summary, this is the tool, this pro forma tool. This is what I used in the very beginning when I started my private practice 16, 17 years ago. It has allowed us to expand and open other clinics. When I have used this, things have gone really well. When I have not, when I've avoided using this or didn't completely understand it, we got ourselves in trouble. And I want you to use this tool as you're expanding your private practice so you can grow more comfortably with less stress and ultimately help more people in pain get back to normal naturally. This is Chad Madden with Breakthrough. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching this video. If you found this helpful and you want to learn more, then head over to learnwithbreakthrough.com to access our free in-depth training tutorials. That's learnwithbreakthrough.com. Thanks again for tuning in.